Hello, I'm Papia. Today, we are going to evaluate some limits. So in this problem, we have this information that limit of a certain function as x is approaching to some c is 16. We don't have the function, we don't have the actual value for c. This is the information that's given to us. Using that, we have to figure out the limit as x approaches to the same value c for these various functions like fx square, square root of fx, 3 times fx, and fx to the power 3/2. Okay, what we can do is we can just use some properties of limit. Okay, since we already know that this function has a limit and is 16, that means the limit exists, we can apply those various properties of limits, like what happens for limit of a product of two functions and square root of a function and so on. So for the first one, notice that limit of fx square, that just means that we have fx times fx. So we have product of two functions whose limit we have to evaluate, and both functions are same. Both functions are f. You know that the property of limit says that we can break it into two separate limits. So we will evaluate limit of f as x approaches c and multiply with limit of the other function, which is also f, as x approaches c. So that's where we applied the property of a limit. And then we know each one, right? Limit of fx is 16, limit of fx is 16. So this is equal to 16 times 16. So it's 16 square. And what is 16 square? It's 256. So that's the answer. So the second function whose limit we have to evaluate is square root of the original function f. All right, so let's see. Again, the limit of function f exists, and therefore we can apply a property of limit that says limit of square root is same as square root of limit of the function. And notice that we know limit of the function fx is 16. So just plug it in. This is square root of 16, and you know that is 4. Okay. Let's move on to part C. Now we have to evaluate the limit as x approaches to same c of 3 times the function. Okay, and the function is the same f. Another property of limit says when you have a constant times a function, you can pull out the constant outside the limit. So this is equal to, you pull the 3 out, 3 times limit of f of x. And one more time, we know that limit of f of x is 16, so the answer will be 3 times 16. And 3 times 16 is 48. So that is the limit for part C. Finally, last function is the original function raised to the power 3/2 as x approaches c. Same idea. Since the limit of f exists, if you raise it to the power 3/2, that's going to be limit of the function, you evaluate that, and then raise the entire thing to the power 3/2. And this inside part, we already know that limit is 16. So this is 16 to the power 3/2. Okay, so what is 16 to the power 3/2? You can first evaluate 16 to the power 1/2 and then raise to the power 3. And you know this is square root of 16, which is 4. So this is 4 cubed. And 4 cubed is 64. All right, so we use the properties of limit to evaluate these 4 different limits. Thank you.